guys, so I'm going to do a split axle cat scale for you, and I'm going to show you how we do this. This is different than your regular cat scale, where you just pull up and once you get on the scale everything's cool. To do a split axle you have to do 2 positions. Now if this location where I'm at, these people have trained their people right, it shouldn't be any problem. But occasionally you run across it where they don't really know what they're doing. So we'll see here. The first thing you're going to see me do is you're going to see me pull up onto the scale, and I'm going to sit where you'd normally sit, and that'll be first position. They will weigh axles 1 and 2, the tandems, the drive axles, and then I'll reposition and I will split those 2 split axles behind me between pads 2 and 3, and then they'll weigh those separately. So let's take a look. All right, here we are. As you see, obviously it's Lowe's, and pull up onto the scale. You can see the big pad is the first pad is a big pad. Then you have a second pad, which is where your drivers land. Third pad is the smallest one, has the access hole on it. That does your steers. So you're going to pull up here far enough to where you can talk on the speaker. One of the things you want to make sure and do is turn off your motor so they can hear you. All right, here we go. All right, first weigh with a split axle, please.
Copy. What's the truck number, boss?
821.
All right, I'm about to do axles 1 and 2, then you'll pull up. I'll do 2 and 3.
All righty.
All right, boss, you can adjust.
Okay.
Will be the last freeze warning for the season, unless.
All right, now let's see what we can do here. We're going to try to land those back axles, split them between that yellow line. See if you can see it. Okay, that front axle is coming up, and it's on pad 2. The other one is on 3. Okay, so I got the back 2 axle split, and I'm ready to park and then go in and get my scale ticket. And I'm going to tell you one of the strategies on this thing when we get stopped up here. Okay, I'm parked and I'm showing you the fuel. Right now it shows a little over a quarter tank. And the reason why I'm checking my fuel right now is because of the weight. So I suspect I'm going to be close to 78,000, 79,000 pounds where I am right now, just because the load's pretty heavy. And so I've got a quarter tank, and that's always kind of a rule when you're going to get a heavy load, is to don't load on a full tank, because if you wind up with a full tank of fuel and you are over 80,000, you're actually going to have to roll for a little while illegal till you burn that fuel off, depending on how much you get or how much over you are. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to get my scale ticket. And if it calculates out to where I can go ahead and fill up my tank, then I will go ahead and fill up my tank. If it calculates out that I can only put in a couple of 100 gallons, or put in 100 gallons or so, then I won't worry about it, because I got a quarter tank and I can get down the road quite a ways. And there is a scale just up the road, so I want to make sure that I'm getting past that scale for sure. So anyway, diesel weighs 7 pounds per gallon, and so you calculate how many gallons you can put on, and that'd be how many gallons you would put on to stay under your 80,000 pounds. So that's why we check that out. Now let's go in and get that scale ticket. Sometimes get busy over here. Scale 821 is the truck.
What's that company? Your trailer number?
453010.
You want to scan a love score?
Let's see. Okay, so here's the load. You can see there's the split axles. Each one of those can have 20,000 pounds on each axle. Here's the tandem drivers. They can have 34,000. And the steers are rated at 13.2. So if you add all that together, that should be more than 80,000 pounds. And that's why they designed these trucks this way, is so that you can have option on how you want to load your truck. So, all right, I'm gonna get in here and we're gonna calculate this out for fuel. Okay, so here we are. This is the breakdown. Let me show you this. Here is the steer axles right here at 12.1. So if I'm rated at 13.2, I'm fine. Drive axles, those tandems back there, 34,000. I'm at 28. One trailer axle's at 17.2. The other's at 17.6. And so those can have 20,000 each on them, so we're way under on that. You see, total weight is way down there at 75,140. Not exactly as heavy as I thought it would be, but let's say that I was at 78.8. That would mean that I only had 1,200 pounds of leeway. And if you divide 1,200 by 7, that would tell you how many gallons that you could put on to go the rest of your day. Kind of said that wrong. It actually would tell you how many gallons you can put on and still be legal. That's what I meant to say. So I'm sitting there with a 4,860 pounds that I can put on, and that's more fuel than I could even think about putting on. I can carry about 200 gallons on this truck. And so I'm way under, and I can go ahead and top it off, and that's what I'm fixing to do. I'm going to go ahead and top off this fuel, and we're going to head out and make the rest of our day. So that's how you do a split axle, and I hope that that'll help you guys, especially those guys that are working with the company I work for. A lot of times those people don't know exactly what they're doing in there, and they will screw up the split axle big time. But we had a real good expert in there this time, did a good job. Okay, so I put on about 120 gallons of fuel, and that is about 850 roughly gallons, 850 pounds, excuse me. So at 850 pounds, I now weigh 75,990. I weigh 75,990 now. If you remember, I was at 75,140, and if that is my calculations in my head, that ought to do it. Well, that's your scale lesson for today. All right, check with you later.